Good morning, I'm Deborah Pinkerton. Welcome to Morning Light. Jeff is off. Healthcare spending is up and consumer satisfaction is down. Studies show healthcare spending reached $5.3 trillion. That's a 7.2% increase. Our Morning Light panel will discuss why healthcare consumers feel less cared for than in the past. And coming up later in the show, we will talk with a Pennsylvania nonprofit that cares for those diagnosed with breast cancer. The president of Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance is here along with someone who is indebted to this program. Well, healthcare costs average nearly $16,000 per person, and the cost is only going up. The American Medical Association breaks down where the money is spent. Hospital and physician services are two of the largest categories of personal healthcare spending, followed by prescription drugs and clinical services. In 2022, nearly 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 10 U.S. adults declined some form of medical care for serious health conditions due to the cost. The Centers for Disease Control shows in 2025, about 28 million Americans did not have any health insurance at all. So how can we really fill in this void? Well, we have a great Morning Light panel here to discuss this very topic. Pastor Chad Hogue, Cynthia Lyons, and Pastor Dave Biser. Thank you for being here this morning. So healthcare, this is certainly a very important topic, and it makes me think when you're younger, your parents pay for when you go to the family doctor, to the dentist, to the eye doctor. It's just something you normally do. But once you start your job and they say, well, we're going to be taking X amount out each month or each paycheck to cover your healthcare, you're like, wow, this is expensive. Just what are your thoughts about this?
It is expensive, and I verge on using the word criminal, because it does feel like, oh my gosh, right? Yeah, yes. Thanks for just keeping that back there, right? There is this sense of in which, gosh, what has happened to a system, and is it like all the other systems that are out there that it has become at some level it's become for profit. And because of that, it's capitalism at its best, right? We're working capitalism because, hey, we're making money, and that's what we're supposed to be doing, and shareholders and all that kind of. But it's healthcare. It's so it becomes very personal. So we're mixing this very personal thing with capitalism and industry and institutional life, and people who want to make money and want to make sure that their shareholders are making money. And so it's messy because ultimately it comes down to usually a phone call that you're making to a pharmacist or an insurance company or somebody, and the frustration, because most of us don't know a lot about healthcare. We don't understand the system. Right. I'm fortunate enough that my wife is a registered nurse, so she knows healthcare at that level. But even she says, this is frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating to deal with the system and the situations that are out there.
Yeah, this is kind of part of adulting for those kids that are getting out of high school or getting out of college, finding their first job. And as parents, normally that is our job as they're growing up. But one of the questions, they think, I better get this job and this is how much money I'm going to make. But then we as parents say, okay, that's great, but what is the healthcare package like that comes with that? Right. And so often I think we're able to keep them on insurance. I think it's till 26. But then after that, what is the amount of money that they're taking out and what does the cost look like? And it's hard. I mean, my family has been very blessed by the fact that my husband works for himself. The takeaway from that is we have never, ever had great insurance. We kind of call it catastrophic insurance because, we're hoping nothing happens. We've been very blessed. Right. Unfortunately, I've had a few heart attacks in the midst. So that's kind of covered. Right. But we've never had glasses covered. We've never had a dentist covered. But because as a sole practitioner, you kind of have to give to get. It is capitalism at its best. It's really difficult.
Yes, you have to find a way to really work around the system.
Sure.
Sure. I think the whole adulting thing is interesting because in many areas, because I remember when I got to college that I called my dad and said, my refrigerator's broke. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with it? There's nothing in it. Right. My wallet's broke too. There's nothing in it. When you become an adult on the other side, you see what all of this takes. Because it will just seem, like you said, it seems so automatic when you're growing up, and to understand on the other side of it. What I've learned is that in the healthcare industry, from personally as well as a pastor, that I've been told this a million times. If you don't advocate, nobody does. Somebody has to advocate. So you see somebody who's elderly, who doesn't understand the system or doesn't know, if they don't have a relative helping, somebody has to.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's very true.
Now, as we're growing older, or should I say growing wiser? Yes, we're growing wiser. That's a better way.
We are.
We have
we
more
are.
aches and pains, and so we're more reliant on this because we go see more specialists.
Right.
I mean, recently you said.
Oh yeah, Gabapentin's my friend. You're right. Yeah, with a nerve pinch that I'm dealing with right now, and so PT and all those sorts of things, and so you get stuff. This is not a bill. Isn't that the greatest thing, by the way? You see something
Here it
that's like,
is.
oh my
This
gosh,
is not a bill, but
this
then
is not a
there's the
bill,
bottom
but then
line.
there's the bottom line,
Right.
Oh my Lord! And you look at those numbers. I had a heart attack back in October, and I look at the numbers there. It's well over $100,000 for my health care just in the hospital alone. You're aware of that. You've been there, and so those numbers are scary. That's scary stuff. That would deplete me. There would be, I'd have to work for the rest of my life to pay that off if I had to, right?
And could you even do that?
And could you? Right. Exactly.
Right.
And so, it just feels scary.
Yeah. Well, and to think that so many people do not, or they decline care because of the cost of health insurance. So they know that there's a problem, but then they don't seek help because they can't afford it.
Oh, yeah.
That is just
so true.
Well, and I think the other piece of that puzzle is the other side of the coin is if we ever end up in an emergency room setting, so often what you hear the nurses and the doctors say is we see an influx of people that have to be treated in the ER that have no insurance. And they, depending on what the living situation is, depending on, what their family situation is, the ERs are being overrun by my child has a cold because we have nowhere else to go. Nobody else will see us. And then systematically, it's overrun as well. It's difficult.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember the idea of the individual, especially if you're on the healthcare side as the doctor or the administrator or whoever, to remember you're dealing with people because we've seen people fall through the cracks. With the way the system is. I don't know what the answer is, but I would say that one area that we definitely need improvement on is the administration side, customer service side, and communication side. Because there have been people waiting on that phone call when that urgent surgery is supposed to take place, and they're waiting and they don't get a response. So health care, there needs to be the idea of care involved in there somewhere.
Right.
Until starting this job, I never realized how many faith-based nonprofits are out there in Pennsylvania alone. And they are there. They are willing to help you. And share with us one of your favorite faith-based nonprofits that really can help someone walk the path or help them through a medical emergency.
We were on Christian healthcare ministries for several years, and I was impressed. Because when we started it, I was concerned, is this really going to come through? Every single thing came through, the major, the small, all of it. The only issue is you have to do all the paperwork and all the admin work, all that stuff. So it's taxing. It was taxing on my wife to do all of that. But I was very impressed with how they handled it from a biblical model, a biblical perspective, and they took care of each other.
I haven't dabbled too much in it, but I know a couple years ago we were looking for something else because our expense went up once again. And I believe it's called MediShare, and it's probably along the same lines that people pay into what you hope you never have to use. I guess it's similar to any health care. And then when there's a need for any type of utilization, there is money that's there that comes out of that pot. And again, when I called there, couldn't have been any better. Couldn't have been any better.
Right, yeah. I think, Chad, I'm not going to speak for you. I think I probably could in this area. As a pastor, I find myself doing a lot of things to keep names in my back pocket that I can use when somebody walks through the door and says, I have a problem, I have an issue, where can I go? And so I'm constantly looking for a faith-based nonprofit locally that I can send somebody to. And there are plenty of them around. churches find themselves filtering people. I can't tell you how many times I've connected people within the congregation who just need a little bit of extra help. You know, is there somebody who can stop by once a week or once a day, or, you know, and I don't know about you, but I find that congregational life is a great place to go to fit into those kinds of need-based life situations where you're part of the family and the family can look after you, and you know, and it can be as simple as, can we drop a couple meals off for a couple days, absolutely. You know, those kinds of things, or can we take you to the doctor's office for your appointment? And just, you know, so I find our office does a lot of that kind of work, and I'm sure yours does too.
And the shared experiences also.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
people are like, I had the same issue last year. This is what I did, and they help each other out.
And connections, absolutely. Yeah.
Really, the purpose of the church.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, being there for others and being a community and really working together.
I think it's why it breaks my heart that people aren't connected to a church. Because they're missing those kinds of connections. They're missing those kinds of relationship possibilities that can happen that are faith-based in their lives. You know, it's a spiritual soul connection that can happen. If 3 days a week I'm taking you to your chemo treatment, all of a sudden now I'm making this deeper connection to your life that I would never have made in any other circumstance or situation.
And I also think then that brings in a whole new setting of, if you're going to the doctor and the doctor says, Dave, how you feeling? And Dave goes, yeah, I'm good. As somebody that sees you 3 days a week, you may go, I don't know that you are. Like, weren't you just telling me about this, that, and the other thing? So I think that there is that support there that sometimes we lose as we get a little bit older.
Or it can be as simple as, you know, you didn't get in and out of the car real easily today.
Right, exactly.
You know, when you go in there, say something about that, right? Exactly. You know, we can, especially through friendships like that, through connections like that, we open the door to allow someone to make that kind of statement into our lives and to speak into our lives that way. And I think that's probably the answer for us. You know, healthcare is not going to change. We're not going to change the system, but we can change how we care for each other. And I think congregational life can help make that happen. So I know a lot of people at Lighthouse are into faith. I would just encourage them to also be into congregational life.
Yeah,
as a
so
pastor.
well put. I love it.
Thank you. Good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Coming up next on Morning Light, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance is here to share how they care for those who are diagnosed in central Pennsylvania. I'll talk with the president next. You're watching Morning Light right here on Lighthouse TV. Welcome back. The Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance is committed to fighting breast cancer through early detection, education, and community awareness. Here to share details on how you can support survivors is the president, Samantha Logsdon. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
So remind us about Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance.
So Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance is a nonprofit ministry, and our mission is to provide breast health education and breast cancer support. So for education, we really want these men and women to know about the risk factors associated with breast cancer. And we go on to teach people how to do proper breast self-exams. And we even have models that helps them feel the difference between healthy breast tissue and something that may be...
that is great.
Yeah, needs to be resolved with a physician. And we also, early detection, offer free mammograms to those who qualify if they're uninsured.
We were talking earlier and you were saying you also have devotionals.
Yes. So we have devotionals that we give in our care packs should somebody be diagnosed with breast cancer, because many people do come into their faith when they have something that, is a health issue for them.
How is this ministry making a difference?
I say it is life or death sometimes. We have a lady right now who is a current warrior. So she's actually fighting her breast cancer fight. Sometimes they have problems and they can't work. So they have financial difficulties. And this particular person has lost her home. She's lost her financial resources. But we were able to get connected with her and get her put up in a hotel so she's not living on the streets. And then also get her put up in an efficiency and cover the cost of that for 3 months, along with getting her essentials, and of course ministering to her as she's going through this journey.
So you look at the whole person,
We
not
do.
just what they're diagnosed with,
Yes.
but their whole life,
Yes.
and having an impact on them.
Yes.
So this is a big year for you, 30 years.
Yes, 30 years in the community. We are honored to continue to support the ladies and sometimes men in the community with the services and programs that we provide.
And how has this ministry changed over that time?
This ministry started very small with a group of friends, meeting in somebody's house, and the programs and resources that we can offer now are they've become much larger and available to a wider group of people. So we have really grown over that 30 years.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Let's talk about some of your upcoming events.
Okay. With it being our 30th year, we have lots of things planned. We want to get the community and our survivors involved. So next, coming up on September 12th is our walk run. That takes place at Norlow Park in Chambersburg. So we invite families and survivors to come and be together for that. It's a 5K. And then after that, on November the 8th, we have our bingo, which is a huge success. Everybody loves that. And then celebrating 30 years with our community partners, we will have a mixer then on November the 12th.
Oh, and what do you hope happens?
We hope that this really brings light to what we do in the community, strengthen the resources that we have and the community partners that we have, all while bringing awareness to breast cancer.
And certainly making a difference for
Yes.
the people who are diagnosed. And how do you see them strengthen, their faith strengthened by going through something like this?
Well, sometimes people are already a member of a church, and I think it gets deeper because you realize that God is there for you during this journey. But sometimes when you go through a health crisis like this, you are looking for something to grab onto to give you hope, and people find that through the devotionals and becoming connected to a church, and hopefully we will help facilitate that.
Yeah, a wonderful ministry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So to come on Morning Light, breast cancer does not discriminate. A woman is diagnosed every 2 minutes in the United States. A woman will share why it is so very important to have a community that will walk alongside you every step of the way. That's next. There are more than 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. The key is early detection and treatment. Lisa Frantz is here to share her journey of hope and how faith helped her through a very difficult time. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Share your journey with us.
It started, I found a lump in my left breast, and I was due to have a mammogram, so I just waited until then. I had the mammogram, and it came back that they didn't find anything. And I had told the technician that I had found a lump. I'm like, something's not right here. Right. So I called my doctor. They ordered an ultrasound, and sure enough, their lump was there, and we did a biopsy, and it came back that I had triple negative cancer, wow. which is a very aggressive form of cancer. So things started happening right away. Within a week, I had a port put in, I had many tests done, and I had my first round of chemo. Wow. And I was like, wow.
What's happening?
Right. Yes. And when you hear the word chemo and you hear the word cancer, everything stops. And it is, you think death, you think it's a death sentence, but it is not. It is not. Nowadays, it is not. So I had 8 rounds of chemo, and then I had a lumpectomy, and then I had 36 rounds of radiation.
Wow,
so it was a 9-month journey, almost like having a baby, 9-month journey. And I was a school teacher at the time, and because I taught primary students, my doctor recommended that I take the year off. So that was another blow to our family in terms of finances and things like that. how I got through it was through the support of my family, my church members, my family church, and also through the Breast Cancer Alliance. They help tremendously. You get a call from them and saying, I hear you've been recently diagnosed. How can we help you? Wow. And just helping us understand the jargon, the medical jargon, and you get all this information verbally and in written. They hand you all these documents and everything, but you don't understand anything it says.
Right.
So,
too complicated.
Right.
And you're still so emotional and trying to figure out what's going to happen
You're
next.
still trying to wrap your head around that you actually have cancer and you're already starting treatment.
Right.
So they were there to help answer those questions and walk you through each step that's going to happen. And you don't talk about the next step until you're through the first step. And they often offered to go to radiation with me or treatments with me. Which is very comforting.
It is.
And to have somebody that has walked that road already and then they're walking with you, it's just a great experience. It's very helpful, very supportive. So
Now 5 years later.
yes, I was diagnosed with breast cancer again. This time I had no symptoms. I could not feel anything. I just went in for what I thought was a normal mammogram and they found another lump. And this time it was in my right breast, and I had a different type of cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And yes, which I thought was really odd, and it is. It's a rarity that happens. However, because of modern technology and 3D mammograms, they found it well before I could even feel it. She said it would be 5 or 6 years until I could feel it. So this round was very different from my first experience. I had a lumpectomy. And then I had 6 rounds of radiation, and I was finished.
Wow.
And so technology, medical advances make a huge difference. So it's very important to go get your mammogram and to get evaluated, and because the earlier they get it, the easier the
early detection is key.
Right, and the earlier you get it, and the medicine, the treatment is not nearly as bad. So yes.
How did your faith carry you through?
Oh my gosh.
And continue to carry you through
this? I had a lot of I had some major back issues, and so honestly, when I first was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was like, oh my gosh, seriously, Lord, again? But he was there every step of the way. And my church family was very supportive. As your pastor spoke earlier, I had church members take me to my treatments and sit with me. Phone calls, cards, meal support. All of that came through my church family, which was showing me that God was there with me every step of the way. And I'm so grateful for that. And I don't know how people get through without that faith, without that extra support. And
and now you're actively involved with
yes,
this
I am.
alliance.
And I feel it's my job to give back and to support other women that have been through it. I was fortunate enough, my children were older and self-sufficient, but there are many younger women that are being diagnosed these days with young children and busy working lives and whatever. And so I just feel it's important to give back. And my whole family comes. Every event that my sons come, my husband is there. And so I sit on the board, but our whole family is involved.
A community wrapping their arms around each other to get through something like this. Thank you so much for sharing this
You're
with
welcome.
us.
Thank you
I'm
for
so
having
glad
me.
you're doing so well.
I am. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
To learn more about Cumberland Valley Breast Care Alliance or to attend one of their upcoming events, check out the cvbca.org. Stay with us. We're back right after the break. Welcome back. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Light, 10 Million for Christ is a ministry that works to inspire and mobilize Christians. The founder is here along with a volunteer to share how hundreds of children heard the gospel at a Bible camp in Romania. You don't want to miss that. Well, we certainly had a good conversation about faith-based nonprofits. In Pennsylvania, there are nearly 5,700 organizations registered. Across the United States, that number jumps to about 178,000. It is amazing. These organizations not only provide spiritual and emotional support, they also offer services in their communities that really do have a significant impact, just like what you heard about the Cumberland Valley Care Breast Cancer Alliance. Local people like you and me making a huge difference. Well, the Bible really does encourage us to volunteer. It's an expression of love, service, and stewardship. Peter writes, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. So be sure to use your gift. You know what your gifts are. You know how your talents are. You can find a way to be there for others because it really does make a difference. For Jeff and the entire Morning Light team, I'm Deborah Pinkerton. Take time today to reach out to a friend, neighbor, family member. Take them to a doctor's appointment. They may need your help. Let them know that you're there for them, that you care. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.